I guess. As I was, it was really, really coming down heavy. And Landon was on Monday. Of course, he's in the Zoom room now. And Landon, you were right on the money, my friend. You said we're going to get a lot of the precipitation, and that is kind of the case. But how bad is it going to be, and how much longer is it going to be like this?
It's at least through the end of the week and to the weekend. So right now we're kind of in a lull, so it's good news. And I was up also at the witching hour and the pre-witching hour and the end of the day hour yesterday. I was actually ready to go outside and see where the flooding problems were up here in the northern half of Guam, because it was just coming down so hard up here at NCS and other areas of Dededo, where we had rainfall reports of upwards of 4 inches, just over 4 inches of rain across areas of Dededo and Chico and NCS, and more so around 3 inches in our office, and then lesser amounts the farther south you go. So it was a pretty good spread. Not everybody saw the heavy rainfall overnight, but some places did, and that's where we had to issue a flash flood warning from my office shortly after around 10:30 yesterday evening. That was valid through early this morning at 1:30. Things have been tapering off this morning. I'm going to flip you around to the radar right quick. This is our radar display on the webpage. Guam is centered right here. Things are in a low. We're kind of in a stratified, stabilized pattern right now. But if you go to the satellite, you see that there's a lot more action in our area. So this is by no means over at this time. You're going to see a little bit of swirl right here in the radar imagery. That's not like low-level circulation. That is not a tropical depression or something developing. That's just a mid-level rotation as the convection is dying off in the area, dissipating. But once we go to the satellite, you start seeing a lot of those white colors. This is
now that changes things considerably.
Non-colorized infrared. Yeah, so Guam is right here. This plume, that's all the moisture in the showers that we saw overnight across northern Guam. And right here at the end of the loop, you see that burst of bright white. That's active new convection going on right now just to our east. And this is a broader view showing Guam, the Sinai here, and this monsoon flow coming across Palau, Yap, and up into our area. So we're seeing that new burst of convection here and those bright colors. This is Guam right there, those bright colors. That's new convection developing as we go into the day right now. It's been very active in that monsoon that we've been talking about. That is starting to fire up. Yesterday in Palau, we saw those strong winds gusting up to 40 miles per hour at the Koror International Airport. This is that burst of convection there, bringing over 3 inches of rain to Palau, 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. They were rocking and rolling. I was talking to the ship captain of the Rim Nativa in Koror's harbor, and they were rocking and rolling. They had to take new anchorage elsewhere in the harbor for safe cover. Farther
they probably
out,
took some motion sickness pills as well, I would assume.
You know, it sounded like the captain was having a blast. I told him I look forward to the day that I can go sailing with them. They have extended an offer to me when I get to Palau. I said, please, please, please pack the Dramamine, because if I see water, I'll need it. So if I'm below deck, I will definitely get it. But this is the story right here. That 93W somewhere in this vicinity, it's very poorly defined, but what the main story is that we're going to see is this is going to invigorate kind of a monsoon gyre. Again, this is Guam and Sinai up here at Palau. This monsoon is going to be coming up around here, developing across Western Micronesia into our area the next several days. So the wet pattern will continue. The observations at the Guam airport showing that the winds have been picking up through the overnight hours. And that's definitely the case right here. This is the overnight satellite pass showing those stronger winds, now gusting into the low to mid 20 knot range at the airport. And that's going to be the theme today as this monsoon starting to take shape across the area. Those stronger winds starting to peak up. You're going to have lulls, but when the showers do come, that's where things will really elevate. That burst of convection that's now east of Palau, passing south of Yap, that's going to be hitting the outer islands. And eventually we're going to see as this circulation, right now it's kind of an elongated circulation north of Yap and Palau. This is going to form that more of a monsoon type gyre and really pulling that monsoon across Palau, Yap, and then up into our area. So we're going to see that convergent pattern with those easterly trades coming from our east and these winds converging over the main islands. It's going to maintain the wet pattern for not just today, not tomorrow, but into the weekend. And so we do have that potential for the heavy showers to develop, especially with this burst of convection. That's going to be the theme. It's not going to be solid coverage of heavy rain nonstop. It's going to be periods of overcast, light dripping, sprinkles, light rain, and then punctuated by heavy bursts of downpours like we saw in parts of northern Guam yesterday. So that's going to be theme wet through the weekend.
Now, if I may, Landon, and pardon the pun, but for many of us who are fair weather, fans of the weather situation out there, I'm sure you're going to reuse that if you haven't. That's probably like a favorite
Always.
meteorologist. Most of us that track these things, and most people on Guam just say when they hear that there may be a storm approaching, they're like, okay, it's coming up from the east southeast to us in the Typhoon Alley part. This one that's around Palau, around that area and everything like that seems to come from the opposite direction and coming up, which a lot of people here are not used to.
Yeah, and that's people think it's out of the ordinary to see that, but that's actually very seasonal for this time of the year. We are in the wet season. We're more prone to the monsoon flow. And it's just been a while, really since 2015, that we had a good, stable, long-lasting monsoon pattern. That was during the El Nino, the strong El Nino of 2015. And so this monsoon pattern directs southwest to west winds across western Micronesia, Palau, Yap. Then that comes up into Guam and the CNMI. Sometimes that monsoon can spread as far eastward as Chuuk, Pohnpei, and Coast Ryan, and a really good, strong monsoon surge all the way to the Marshall Islands. You don't see that too often. But that's where we are right now. That monsoon trough is coming up over our area, and it's going to bring those southwest winds. Does that mean that we're going to have a storm, a tropical depression or a tropical storm approaches from the southwest? That's not the case. Right now, there are no suspect areas for tropical cyclone development, but it's just going to be a very healthy monsoon surge. And so the rumors were rampant in Palau yesterday with the strong winds and the heavy rains. And so I was talking with the U.S. Embassy there in Palau, as well as the Remnativa and the Weather Service Office in Palau, that this is not a typhoon, that there is no credible typhoon threat, but it's a very strong monsoon surge. And so you're going to see peaks and lows in the winds and the rains, and that's going to be coming our way. So you might be in a lull of showers right now across Guam, but that's going to be coming later with more showers. We are not out of the woods as far as the wet weather is concerned.
Exactly. And, like when you said basically not a typhoon, a lot of people start, running around the room doing the happy dance, and they kind of just like tune up. But like you said, I mean, this still could mean roads are going to be very, very wet down, particularly in the southern end of the island. There's probably going to be some flooding. The degree to which that actually happens, I guess we'll see. But is there anything else that people in your line of work see as like dangerous conditions, particularly like lightning and thunder?
Yeah, the lightning risk will be there as we see these heavier bursts of convection, especially in the infrared or the visible satellite imagery. When you see these heavy bursts of convection, you see the clouds moving on shore. For us in the coming days, that's going to be generally from the south and eventually the southwest. Expect the heavy showers, but also consider the presence of lightning strikes. That will be the case with these heavier bursts of convection in the coming days, as well as possibly hazardous conditions over on the seas and surf, depending on where this monsoon circulation develops, how strong the winds will get. If it's too far east, the stronger winds will keep offshore to our west. But if it develops closer to Guam, the stronger winds in the bulk of showers will develop more over Guam and the CNMI. So keep that in mind, because it could be a difference of 50 miles, 100 miles, or a couple hundred miles, where exactly that huge plume of the heaviest showers and strongest winds will develop. But in a general sense, it's going to be wet the next several days, and so the soils are saturated, and so any brief downpours will bring standing water and running water on street surfaces and across ground surfaces, especially in the steeper terrains in the central and southern parts of Guam. So that's where we're really most concerned about flash flooding. So keep that in mind as you go along through your days. Have an umbrella handy, and just know that some of the rain is going to be diagonal, kind of horizontal if there's strong gusts are mixing down with it. And we are seeing those gusts in the observations this morning at the airport.
Well, I got a bonus tip for you. Since you mentioned it, Landon, you were saying, bring an extra umbrella. You might want to bring an extra shirt. Bring an extra pair of socks, whether to work, to school, something like that. I mean, you could never not use an extra pair of socks. And if you do happen to get saturated, as you said, keyword there and everything like that, it's always nice to stave off, getting a little cold, because you don't want to get sick these days.
That's exactly it. And, I joke my boss is like, maybe I might feel a scratchy throat and I'll take the next 10 days off. We'll see.
All right. Well, looks like you got everything on top of it. We appreciate the information as always. So the TLDR, as the kids say, like on Reddit these days and everything, going to be real wet. Keep your eye on things, because by no means are things going to be completely copacetic. But it's nice that we got friends like you that'll let us know if things ever do get a little bit scary.
Absolutely, and it's a great week for fresh hot coffee. So
there you go.
Absolutely, grab a cup for you.
All right, you seem like the guy who puts like maybe three pumps of caramel and like extra whipped cream. I'm just guessing.
I take it near black with just a little bit of milk on top.
Oh, there you go. Well, one of these days we're gonna hook you up with some of Sabrina's special blend and everything. That'll get you going through the day.
I look forward to that.
Barbecue sauce and coffee, man. It's a complete day.
Perfect.
All right, thanks a lot, brother.
See y'all.
All right, we appreciate it, man. All right, and now let's go back to Bree for more island news.
And with your news in Chamorro, here is